cards to direct payment. So you reimburse credit cards in a different way. What are the requirements for reimbursing credit cards? And by the way, I think it works pretty well. We've been able to stop payment and get reimbursed for things, as well as had fraud prevented. We get calls. We've had to reissue our credit cards in the past because somebody's got a credit card number. So I think that system works pretty well. But describe. I'll start with you, Mr. Monaco. Describe the difference between credit cards and Zelle from a standpoint of how the banks reimburse and what you're required to reimburse.
Well, first of all, Senator, thank you for the question. Zelle and credit cards are fundamentally different payment methods. Credit cards are regulated under Reg Z.
Again, what do you reimburse for credit cards versus what you reimburse for Zelle? Let's clarify that.
So under circumstances where a customer's card is lost or stolen and there's a purchase, we would reimburse for that.
So if somebody's using a credit card unauthorized, you reimburse for that?
Yes, sir. Right.
Okay.
And there are other chargeback circumstances which you referenced before, right, where the seller or the merchant hasn't lived up to their obligation, where we would reimburse our customer and then seek to recover through the
and then that becomes a dispute between you and the vendor. And you fight that out. But I mean, basically, you make the consumer whole almost with no questions asked.
Yeah, under the various network rules, depending on the circumstances. But yes, there's a dispute resolution mechanism. And if the merchant is found to have not lived up to their obligations under those rules, then yes, we reimburse.
Collectively, banks have about $160 billion of interchange fees to work with to make those reimbursements, correct? Which you do not have with Zelle.
That's correct, sir. Credit cards carry this notion of purchase protection that is built into the product as a feature of the product.
And it costs consumers $160 billion in some way, shape, or form.
Yes, sir. And Zelle
so isn't it true that banks would rather have your customers use your credit cards rather than Zelle?
Senator, we want our...
I would as a business guy. If I could generate $160 billion versus giving away something free, use that.
We offer our customers a number of different payment methods.
Right. And again, I'm trying to zero down. So why do you offer Zelle? Because your customers want it.
100%.
And why do you offer Zelle pretty much for free, Mr. Fowler? Because you use the data and you can make money off selling that data, correct?
Senator, that's not correct.
Okay,
we don't make money selling the data. The information.
So somebody is using this consumer data for something, correct? I mean, all these billions of dollars transactions, this data is being used by somebody somehow, correct?
Senator, I would say I can only comment on Zelle, but I just want to be incredibly clear. Privacy by design is underpinning the Zelle network. What that means is we run a token system, which is only name, email, mobile number, and financial institution. That is the information we have about any consumer using the network. That information is used, the token's used for the transaction. We do monitor interactions between sender and receiver. Of course we do. We do that to protect the network and ensure that the financial institutions, the 2,100 financial institutions, know everything there is to know about what's going on, but we categorically do not sell any data associated with the Zelle network to anyone for any reason ever.
So the banks, do you benefit at all from the data generated from your customers' use of Zelle? Mr. Monaco, I'll go to Mr. Monaco.
Sir, we benefit from the products, the risk management products that Early Warning produces, right, which is really the core of the company from its original founding, way before Zelle. So that is products such as account verification, right? So we know it's a valid account. Other products. That's how we benefit. We do not make we do not make money off it. We use it to keep all of our products safe, whether it be a checking account or a
credit card transactions. I mean, is that who you're using to detect fraud in your credit cards? Early warning systems?
It's one of the many inputs and models that we use.
again, I'm just really trying to understand the economic model, why you're offering something for free that you, obviously your customers value.
So, sir,
I mean, how many, you have over 100 million customers that use this, and how many billions of transactions on Zelle?
sir,
So somebody has getting value out of this, right? And yeah, okay, there's fraud, people use this and there's scams and fraud and that type of thing, but it's at a pretty low percentage. Okay, I'm just trying to put things in perspective here.
So at its core, Zelle is a substitute for cash and check, right? And it's convenient, easy to use. It improves the customer experience. So our customers want it. They want to interact with us digitally. It allows them to access their account in a safer way than perhaps withdrawing money from an ATM or writing a check that they then have to put in the mail, which exposes their account number and the bank routing number, which gives basically somebody all the information they likely need to perpetrate fraud.
So again, this is important to underscore. It strikes me as Zelle, although there's some risk and some fraud, is safer than cash, carrying around a wad of cash to pay people, and it's safer than checks. And there's no reimbursement on a check other than if you can catch it quick enough, you can stop payment. But once that is cleared, I mean, the banks are under no legal requirement to, oh, that was fraud, so you got to reimburse that check, right? Whereas at least on some of these things, you reimburse for Zelle. Okay, so again, I'm just trying to lay out the reality, provide a different perspective here. And from my standpoint, I can see why consumers want to use Zelle. I've always thought for a long time that banks would, kicking and screaming, agree to some kind of payment system that bypassed their very lucrative, very profitable credit card business. But you're doing it. I don't know. Seems like a good deal to consumers. That's all I got. Thanks. I guess we differ on that one.
No. I think you are hitting on a tremendously important point, which is the benefit to the bank.